Good day. How is everyone this Saturday, November 30th, 2024? Let's take my glasses off, see who's here. Sister Jeannie, CW, RM, CJ. How is everyone? I want to thank Maria for sending me and referring people. So I was in contact with now I'm thinking it's William. I'm sorry, my memory is not that good. If he pops in there from the Netherlands, you'll know. And she has been helping him understand what we're doing, and also my daughter in Florida, who is helping a gentleman, not knowing even who he was. She just put signs up, ourladyisgod.com, around, I guess it's Western Florida, around by where that hurricane hit there in St. Petersburg and whatnot. And we thank anybody for those efforts. So my attempt at prepaid mail didn't go so well as Maria's. I put the return address on there. And maybe I shouldn't, because then they were like, oh, well, he's supposed to have postage on it. So it went back from my local post office back in my mailbox with a note, postage due. So I'm trying to decide how much effort that I really want to put into doing this. So for a letter to go to the Netherlands, it was $1.65. So it wasn't like it was a financial thing. It's more about the principle of the people are supposed to have prepaid or postage paid, and maybe that was it. So my thought was I was going to attempt it one more time, maybe go there and just show them their own postal code rules, where it says, if it says prepaid, it's prepaid, and that's what it is. So if Maria, or if Maria's friend there from the Netherlands is watching, I did try to send you a letter, so and we are still going to try and send it to you. If I have to put postage on it, I will, which is fine. It's good to have the writing going on. We need to have writing and letters, because everything done electronically will disappear at some point. Honestly, it's going to disappear at some point. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of crypto, because it's going to disappear at some point. And, there's just things, there's intuitions, there's feelings, there's discernment, etc. So anyway, all right, we're going to get started with Good Day Rising prayers. Throat's still scratchy. I'm working through it. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Again, tomorrow's Mass will be at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. like usual. And then I'm going to try to, if I feel up to it, head out to Connecticut, spend some time with the grandchildren and daughter and son-in-law, and then pick up my son at the airport coming back from Florida. Please pray for a special intention. There's always this demonic parasite attack, and it just really affects certain souls, and it seems to be the more the heart of the attack is on the ones who want to be better with themselves and in the face of the Most Holy Trinity. So pray for the ability for people to be persevering in their cleansing of parasites from their body. All right, it comes to the mind first, that how important your relationship is with the Most Holy Trinity, and then you have to take care of the body. because the body can really, really, really get in the way of your soulfulness. All right, let's begin with Good Day Rising prayers. And I'm going to take a swig of water, which I have today, thankfully. Oh. In nomine Dei Matronum Nostrae et Jesum Christum et Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Divine Family. Most holy and venerable Holy Trinity, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O most holy Trinity, relying on thy infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Jesum Christum et Deum Matronum Nostrae. O most holy Trinity, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O most holy Trinity, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the most holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O most holy Trinity, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, O God, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Deum Matronum Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. O Mother of God, I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinity, as envisioned as the most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronum Nostrae, Deum Jesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all because I have offended thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. All right, we continue with the errors of Russia and the resulting Jewish communism. So as I finished yesterday, let me see if I can find what the last line was there. One, two, three. Okay, so Portugal, the country, did not become a Catholic country. This is a totally different topic, so that doesn't help us. Okay, the good will be martyred, and various nations will be annihilated, are prophecies that have already been fulfilled. In order to further understand what Our Lady meant by the conversion of Russia, it is important for us to understand what she meant by things she mentioned in the same context. For instance, various nations will be annihilated, and the good will be martyred. Our Lady of Fatima, July 13th, 1917, quote, "If they listen to my requests, Russia will be converted, and there will be peace. If not, she will scatter her errors through the world, provoking wars and persecutions of the Church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated." Again, thank you for all your insights. As I've been reading these, people have been sending me emails and giving me their insights and appreciations and whatnot for what they're gaining from them, which is very good. And some who may or may not have a special gift have let me know that it could very well be that we're heading into a period of peace. So let's see how that unfolds. Even though you see on the news all this stuff about war, that's their efforts, and our efforts are stopping that. So we're trying to get into that period of peace. If not, she will scatter her errors through the world, provoking wars and persecutions of the Church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated. Many believe that Our Lady's words, "various nations will be annihilated," and "the good will be martyred," as a result of the spread of Russia's errors, still have not been fulfilled. However, the truth is that both of these things have already been fulfilled. Various nations were annihilated. As we will see, even Frère Michel, an author whose work is promoted by Nicholas Gruner's apostolate, admits that the Soviet Union's takeover of the Baltic nations and other small states during the period of World War II, which it simply annexed to itself, making them exist no longer, constituted the annihilation of nations of which Our Lady spoke. Frère Michel de la Sainte Trinité, The Whole Truth About Fatima, Volume 3, page 190, quote, "In 1939, the USSR was still the only communist state in the world. 6 years later, several nations were erased from the map, absorbed by the Soviet Empire. A dozen countries entered Moscow's orbit and retained only the appearance of liberty, while others were agitated by internal wars or gravely threatened by communist subversion. The prophecy of Fatima was being fulfilled to the letter," unquote. Besides the nations of Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, etc., which entered the orbit of the Soviet Empire and were reduced to puppets of its machine, the Baltic nations, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, were actually erased from the map, completely annihilated by full absorption into the Soviet Empire. Quote, "The small Baltic nations, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, were now ready for Stalin to pluck. He moved at once to impose mutual assistance treaties on them, whose only significant clause provided for stationing large numbers of Soviet troops on their territory. These treaties were signed on September 28th for Estonia, October 5th for Latvia, and October 10th for Lithuania. They could now be taken over at any time," unquote. And that was quote by Warren H. Carroll, The Rise and Fall of the Communist Revolution, Christendom Press, page 310. An article carried on the website of the Joint Baltic American National Committee notes that, quote, "On July 23, 1940, Sumner Welles, acting U.S. Secretary of State, stated that the devious processes whereby the political independence and territorial integrity of the three small Baltic republics Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, were to be deliberately annihilated by one of their more powerful neighbors, have been rapidly drawn to their conclusion." Unquote. Notice the absorption of the Baltic nations by the Soviet Union annihilated the political independence and territorial integrity of these nations, i.e., annihilated their nationhood itself. Another article on the website of the Joint Baltic-American Committee notes that, quote, "Communism will be remembered not so much for what it left behind as for what it didn't. The decades of totalitarian rule annihilated cultures," unquote. Our Lady's words about the annihilation of nations clearly refer to the Soviet Union's takeover of the Baltic nations, which literally erased them from the map by absorption. But there are some who believe that Our Lady's words refer to nuclear catastrophe that will happen in the future. To attempt to prove this point, they will quote Sister Lucy's words to Father Fuentes. Sister Lucy to Father Fuentes in 1957, quote, "Tell them, Father, that many times the Most Holy Virgin told my cousins Francisco and Jacinta, as well as myself, that many nations will disappear from the face of the earth. She said that Russia will be the instrument of chastisement chosen by heaven to punish the whole world if we do not beforehand obtain the conversion of that poor nation." Unquote. Sister Lucy is obviously reiterating Our Lady's words about the annihilation of nations. However, if a nation were devastated by nuclear catastrophe, it wouldn't disappear. It would still be visible, but as an empty and devastated wasteland. The only way to make a nation literally disappear is by erasing it from the map by incorporation into another country, as happened with the Soviet Union's takeover of the Baltic nations. In stunning confirmation of this point, here is what the Soviet Foreign Minister Molotov said to the Lithuanian Foreign Minister concerning the Soviet Union's imminent takeover of the Baltic nations. Soviet Foreign Minister Molotov to Lithuanian Foreign Minister, quote, "You must take a good look at reality and understand that in the future small nations will have to disappear. Your Lithuania, along with the other Baltic nations," unquote. And again, that was in Warren Carroll's book, The Rise and Fall of the Communist Revolution, page 306. The annihilation of nations, the making of nations disappear, clearly refers to the Soviet Union and its takeover of the Baltic states. Frere Michel even applies the annihilation of nations to the other nations that the Soviet Union incorporated into its orbit as satellites, such as Poland, etc. However, it most specifically refers to the erasing of the Baltic nations, as well as other small provinces such as North Bukovina and Bessarabia. And this surely would have happened to many other nations if Russia had not been consecrated. Interesting. And again, this I'm learning along with you, and it's really fascinating to read this and to share this with you all. Frere Michel de la Santa Trinité, The Whole Truth About Fatima, Volume 3, page 193 to 194, quote, "Is it necessary to enumerate these nations which perhaps Our Lady of Fatima designated, announcing that various nations will be annihilated? Torn from their age-old traditions and from their church, their society destroyed by the great Bolshevik machine. In effect, these countries are no longer themselves. There is Albania, where the persecution against the church began in 1945. There is Hungary, with its 7 million Catholics out of 10 million inhabitants, where the apostolic nuncio was expelled in April 1945. There is Poland, 22 million Catholics, where in September 1945, the government decided to break the Concordat. There is Czechoslovakia, where out of 12 million inhabitants, almost 9 million were Catholics. There is Orthodox Romania, with its valiant minority of 3 million Eastern Rite faithful, where the government awaits the favorable hour to perform the same forced integration to the schismatic church as in Ukraine. There is Bulgaria, where the church numbers only 57,000. There is Tito's Yugoslavia, where a bloody persecution began in June through July of 1945. In every communist nation controlled by the Soviet Union, the press, the radio, and education were totally controlled by the state. This became the sad and gloomy reality in our country, in country after country that fell to communism. All these satellites also vigorously persecuted the church. We see that happening here in the States as well. For instance, in Romania, with the active complicity of Patriarch Alexis of Moscow and the entire Orthodox national hierarchy, the communists decided on the liquidation, pure and simple, of the Greek Catholic Church, which numbered 1.6 million faithful at the time. Towards the end of October 1948, they proceeded to arrest the Byzantine Catholic bishops, vicar generals, canons, and the majority of priests, about 600 in all. The government then proceeded to the confiscation of churches and convents of monks and religious, in spite of their resistance. On December 1st, 1948, the communist government published the decree suppressing the Eastern Catholic Church. Unquote. That was Whole Truth About Fatima, Volume 3, pages 255 to 256. And this led to the good being martyred, which has also been fulfilled. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. O most holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hoc maculatum hostium, quam ego indenius famulos tuus offeriti Deum eum vivum et verum, pro inumidibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sera pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis atque defunctis ut mihi et illis proficiat salutem. Deum qui culminae substantia dignitatem mirabilitu condeditia mirabilius reformatio da nobis perigus atque divine mysterium, eius divinitatis esse consortis qui militatis nostrae, fiat dignatus est parteceps Deum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum de peccantes clementium, ut ac aspecto divinae maestatis tuae, pro nostra totius mundus salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiam rata Deum Iesum Christum et fiat sacrificium nostrum et exvetu tuorie. Uplacia tibi Deum matronum nostre et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctifici deblata prosequendo et acapere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini, praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas oblationum cum tibia fedimus, amorem passiones, resurrectiones et ascensiones Deum Iesum Christum, Et in honorem Deum matronam nostrae et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Historum et omnium Sanctorum. Utilis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et ili pro nobis intercedere et in indurre caelis coram amorem agimus in te expediendum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum ac vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ob Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nomini sui ad utiditatem quoque nostram, totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud te, surus un corda habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementias me matere patere Deum matron nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae. Supplices rogamus ac petimus, uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium irribata. In primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodere et honore et regere digneris tot obiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum caetorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie, Gage, RM, Neelanor Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Letitia, Clarette, Mindy, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Jenna and Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Kendrick, Dasco, Nye, Tafour, Began, Wolf, and Kane families, Alex Tafour. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium exchange, with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society and bring us into an era of peace. We ask all the remaining intentions that I have listed here be approved and carried out according to thy holy will. Et omnium circumstantiam coram tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi afferimus veruque tibi affrontox sacrificium laudis proces huisque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum pospe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi crederunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et verdo. Communicantes et memonem venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Dei matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium totum Papa Sancte Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum, tuorum coram meritis praecibusque concedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae moneam et exidio periendum Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblatione Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibum, consecratum acceptabitum quae fecedi dineris ut nobis corpo, et sanguim fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridi et quam pateretur recepita panem in sancta sacramentablis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in caelum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum sum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, frege didique luminis sui dicenza cipit et mondo cati ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simile modo postquam ceremonia est accipienser hunc praeclarum caricem et sanctus aquarum manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecrave didique luminis sui dicenza cipite et bibite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionem peccatorum, aequo tescum feceris in memora facetis. Unde et memoris Deum nostro virtuis et plebs tua sancta Iustum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passinois nec non et ab inferis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis offerimus praeclare maiestati tui de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno voto respicieri digneris. Supplices te regamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ibi hic perfide per manus tuum, ut quod ex operatis participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium Tuum, corpus et sanguinem sincerimus, omni sanctificatione caelestia gratia Dei Pamor per inum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Lenny Newhouse, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibus in Christum quiscentibus locum refugere lucis et pacis, ut andorgeste placamur per inum Christum Deum nostrum, per quem hec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivibicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, Matronam Nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Matram Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Dei Matronam Nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitius pacem mendibus nostris. Ut ope misericordiae tuae aduiti de peccato simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per iendum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et renat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te. Haec mixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat excipientibus nobis in et salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronam Nostrae, quoprante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinem tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis et atinumquam separare permittas, qui cum eodam Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivi serenam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego in inius sumere praesimum non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum mentis et corporis, et ad me delam percipiendam qui vivi serenas cum Deum Matronam Nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem accipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocavo. Dea Matronam Nostra non sunt dignius, ut metus et meis in tanti de gloria semper anima mea, Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, quintus subtetum essen, tante du verbos naparanum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, quintus subtetum essen, tante du verbos naparanum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribuum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem saitaris accipi me nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostra et ab inimicis mei salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mei. Quodore sumus Deum Iesum Christum plenamente capiamus et demonem et pare fit nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod subsit sanguis quam patavi et heri ad visceribus meis praesta ut in me non remaniat, scelerum macula quem pura sancta reficerum sacramenta. So I never got a letter from Open Sky, huh? 3 letters. Not the end of the world. Deum vobiscum et quoque apote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum et quoque apote. Ite mises Deum gratiae. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis mea et praesta ut sacrificium cor oculis tuae majestatis in unus obtoritivis et acceptabilem equiet omnibus, pro quibus irut obtoliciti miserante perpetsabe per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, gratias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Jesum Christum present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Dea Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Dei Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Jesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. Thank you to the Lineweaver family for their donation. I appreciate that very much. Very, very helpful. Please have a great day, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Anybody else? Hello, Denise. And yes, be holy. All right. Thanks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.